This is the first time I actually finished beforehand.
I had a quick question. I think you like in some of the emails, I think your daughter sent to the professors. She asked like, oh, she said she was gonna ask a couple of questions. What kind of questions do you guys usually ask the professors in these colleges?
Yeah, let me share with you guys. So we didn't ask anything earth-shattering. Like I said, I showed you guys some of those. There was, so if you look at this one, she talked a little bit about, um, I see that your profile intrigued me because your focus is on this, which isn't a section of chemistry I've learned about, right? So she's not saying that I'm a pro at this as well, so are you, so we need to do a kumbaya. She's saying, hey, you've done some cool stuff, which I haven't done much about, but I'm intrigued with your story. I want to talk to you, right? Nothing very unique. Um, I'd like to ask you a few questions about the chemistry department, right? If you look at her questions, they're very clearly, she wanted to ask very targeted questions. But I say if you ask him a targeted question, he's going to give you a targeted response in an email, and he's not going to get on a call with you. My focus is for them to get on a call with you to hear you out, to hear your disciplined side, to see how you ask questions. So a lot of our questions were not as detailed, but they were more like, look at this one. Dr. Stanley, I want to hear about undergraduate research opportunity internships, as well as the campus. So think of it, she's reaching out to one of the big guys of the chemistry department, but she's asking questions about undergraduate research. This is an area they want to talk about. They want to talk to you saying, hey, there are research opportunities. Yeah, please come on board. What kind of work would you want to do, right? And same thing for the scripts person. She had a great response. We literally had like I would say 80% response, like professors reached out back. Only one time the professor reached out back saying, hey, here's the website, here's the details. Let me know if you still need any questions answered. And she never responded back. She was kind of shy. But yeah, this is how we did some of this. Does that answer the question?
Yeah, that answers the question. Thank you.
Yeah. Anybody else? Any questions?
Is it worth it to apply for the FAFSA when you have a high income?
Yes. You want to apply for the FAFSA regardless, because you never know which one of those. So firstly, applying for the FAFSA is important because even if you want the federally, what's it called? So you want the federal loans, even if, because these are the lowest fixed income rate loans. So like, for example, for Shreya, I told her she's going to take a loan. I'm like, I'm not paying all 300K for you. So we took the $28,000 loan, which is given over 4 years. I think about $6,000 every year. And that's the part that she's going to pay. The rest, 270K, she is lucky her generous father is going to pay for it. But she'll pay 30K. So the good part of a federal loan is the interest does not start right away. It starts only after you graduate. And so that makes it a little easier on you. But a private loan, if you go for a private loan, if you haven't filled out FAFSA, you don't get even access to that $28,000. And you have to fill out, by the way, FAFSA in the same year in which you want the loan. Okay. So there is something about it which is pretty weird. I mean, I was reading this, what that lady's website, that you want to fill out FAFSA in October, November of that year, because if you fill out next year, maybe I'm wrong. That's why I want to read that blog a little better. But you want to fill out the FAFSA in this year itself for next year. And FAFSA, by the way, looks at your income 2 years ago. So when you're applying for the 2021 year, they're going to look at your parents' income 2 years ago in 21, so 2019 W2. FAFSA only looks at, I had some data about there's the other application, there's FAFSA, and then some schools have that, forget the name of there's a FAFSA plus one more. They want not the coalition, but it's called something, I'm forgetting the word. So I have to do a blog. I have to do a small video on this one because this is stuff I should have known. I forgot to spend much time on this, but I'll get back to you guys with that. Does that answer the question, Kapil, to some extent?
Yeah, I have another question.
Go ahead.
So, is it true that if we accept federal aid, that we have to sign up for the selective service program?
I honestly don't know. What is selective service program?
So, I was looking at the FAFSA and it said that if you're a male and you accept federal aid, you have to sign up for this program where you have to agree to join the draft if there's a war.
I don't remember going through that with Shreya. But Shreya has a loan, a federal loan, but looks like, well, I'll have to
A male.
say what?
Rhea is not a male.
Okay, so for males, okay, well, then you're screwed. Then you're done. You have to go for draft. Okay. Yeah, I don't know much about that. Yeah. Anybody else? Any questions?
I have a question. This is Helen. Hi, Hapa. Yeah, thank you for their workshop. It's always informative. Really appreciate it. I have a question about Sriya. Did she start as a chemical major in the beginning, and then she changed to computer science afterwards, or how did she look? Because it looks like she was starting as a chemical initially as an interest.
Yeah. So the good thing is because you were at a liberal arts school, they don't expect you to declare, like, you have to tell them kind of what you want to do, but not really. Like, but if you had gone to like a USC or a University of Berkeley, then she would have to transfer out of that department because of the universities. Universities, you have to pledge your major, and when you make a change, it's a much longer procedure. I do know people who've been able to do it, but that's the beauty of a liberal arts school. You don't have to declare your major until I think second year or third year, something like that. And even after that, you can create a whole hodgepodge of your own major, which could be a very unique one of your own. So that's why I'm a very big fan, Helen, of liberal arts schools. Both my kids, my younger one will not go to a university either. I mean, I honestly don't see a reason why a kid should ever go to a university or to a school which is not a liberal arts school. And maybe I should do a session just on that. But
yeah, that would be great, because I think it's actually great for, I mean, especially for kids here in a mission. I think it's very competitive, and I think the liberal arts, also provide the kids opportunity to explore. Right? It's just that because they are still growing, even they go to college, and they don't, they probably don't know exactly what they are going to do until maybe like a sophomore or actually until junior, right? So I think it's, I think they're going live, or they're, is always changing, right? So I think it's good that liberal arts school provide opportunity for kids to finally discover what they really determined to go for.
I have let me quickly show you guys something on liberal arts school if that's of importance to you, if that is of interest, because some of you are going to apply for liberal arts schools. So give me a second, let me just find it.
Sure, thank you.
I can take some other questions while I'm looking for this. Yeah, right here. Okay, I found it.
Did you already make this workshop, or
I made it. I haven't shown it to anyone yet, but I was putting it all together, like liberal arts careers, look at this, right? I mean, It's a fallacy that people think that, liberal arts does not have any STEM. Look at the number of people who come up with, a STEM major from a liberal arts school, and you don't have as much competition like at Shreya's school. And if you remember what I talked about, Malcolm Gladwell's YouTube video about how he talked about how STEM kids are at Harvard, a third of them will drop out. It's the top of the line STEM kids who show up at Harvard, but they drop out because STEM is such a competitive by nature. You never see yourself as alone. You always see yourself with respect to somebody else. So going to a STEM school, a good STEM school in a liberal arts school is so much better than going to a top of the line like MIT or Caltech, where the competition is so brutal amongst each other. But what I found interesting about liberal arts careers was where they finally show up. And pay-wise, they don't, I mean, if you look at them over time, they make pretty much the same kind of money as, and most CEOs come from a liberal arts background, by the way.
Right.
So you see this after 20 years, a CS major is making 116K, whereas some of these guys have been making more than international relationships. I have one of my students who's doing international relations. So many things like in political science and stuff you can do over here, which if you're going to do an MBA or something, liberal arts is a perfect background to start with.
Right.
Some things about, where's it gone? Where's liberal arts? Come on. I have a lot of data. I'm looking for where am I looking for? Yeah, I found something. The difference, right, between a liberal arts school and a university. It's a lot more holistic education, whereas university is a lot more specialized with research components. You are competing in a liberal arts school. You have only undergraduate programs, which is super critical because then you're not competing with these guys for jobs or for research opportunities with the professors, because these are the guys who kick your butt when you're in undergrad programs. The other students who are way ahead of you. Shreya's classroom, even in a CS class, is like 20 kids total in the class. Whereas University of Davis, UC Davis and Berkeley, both I know, 300 kids to one professor and 5 TAs. How are you going to learn anything about computer science in a classroom of 300 kids?
Impossible.
So smaller campuses, a lot more rural towns, lot more classroom discussions. So I'm a big fan of, and for students who are unsure of their final degree, and it's hard. Like some of you guys on this call are very clear where you want to go, but they are making it for people who are unsure of where they want to finally go. Like Shreya, I'm pretty sure she will not finally come out with a CS degree. She will be doing law or political science. Right now she says CS, but that's just to make me happy.
Yeah, she's very smart. She definitely
knows how to keep her dad happy. Yeah.
Very good.
That's what I had. Yeah, that's what I had. But,
good to know. Yeah, that's a question I think I've been always wondering that. Because my daughter said, "Oh, UCLA," and I was wondering, it's a really big class. Are you sure that's the class, the kind of college you want to go to?
One of the sessions I'll be doing, Helen, is this one, which is going about, like, I myself, when Shreya was looking at career paths. I did not even have something like this, which talked about, something like this, what are the different types of entry-level job for STEM majors? Or I didn't have, something like this about, even talk to my kids. I mean, because I'm an engineer myself, I just talked, like an engineer, but I wanted them to see that, what kind of careers are available outside. I wanted them to know what are careers in mathematics, what you can do. But a lot of I could never get this done, like political science. Kids don't appreciate or don't know what political science can get you, where it can get you. But if I could read a little bit more about these jobs, and like my mother is a paralegal, you can become a lawyer from political science careers, same thing, anthropology, things which we all discount that these are not even, these are not even major, they're just not, computer science and stuff. I had these, and I'm going to do this session at some point, maybe in the next session I'll actually do some of these and go into details. But this makes you think.
Great.
So we'll talk about public health. Right? This is a huge thing right now with the pandemic, right? What kind of jobs you can get into, and what is a occupational health and safety specialist? Most kids don't have these things to drive knowledge-wise, but oh well.
This was a great topic. This is awesome for parents that always think about computer science or think about engineering. That's. I mean, kids should be not just limited to, what parents, think they should do, because it's their life, they should explore and decide themselves eventually.
I had a question, Helena, from Jessica, you asking that, how will the removal of SAT impact admissions? Big time in the sense, if SAT actually goes away, firstly, in my mind, they will replace it with something else. This is the problem in US admissions, right? The SAT was the way for them to clear out like 2/3 of the people on the list. SAT meant a lot of things. It made it, for one, a rich man's game, which has really been my biggest problem with US admissions as a process. But SAT helped the colleges only look at 1/3 of the applications that they got in, particularly the good schools. because they had to report like the 75th percentile of their students or what was their SAT or ACT score. So they never even looked at like, if a 75th percentile of a school, let's say at 1400, 1350 SAT. If you have a 1200 SAT, it's gone. They're not going to even look at the application. Okay, so the SAT always kept you out, that didn't get you in. Now, if they make SAT, so by the way, right now SAT is optional or is it actually gone altogether? If it's gone, then you need to double down on this process of, you need some champions for you. You need somebody. SAT was actually helping you and me, because we could send our kids to expensive schools to pick up a 1400. There you get a 1450, less than that. We could push it down the kids. Okay, but if we lose that crutch, and my kids will lose that crutch if that happens, I'm going to double down on making sure my college professors, I have my relationships with them, my recommendation letters will be solid. That's the only way I have. And of course, the GPA has to be rock solid. So SAT going away actually hurts a lot of the communities, a lot of people who were able to get admissions before. Definitely impacts the Asian strata of society a lot. So that's just what it is. So just got to come up with new strategies. But I don't think it's going away for good. It's not. I mean, they will change it with something else. They will put some standardization test. It's only because of COVID they've made it optional this year, or some schools said they'll get away. But like I said before, if it is SAT optional and you're applying to that school, you better jump all the hoops and bounds to actually show up in Nevada's that school and take your SAT there. Because if it's optional, means they are looking at it. If they are SAT blind, that's a different story. Okay. Any more questions? Okay, I will in that case, thank you very much. And some of you will hopefully show up for the next session, which is for kids, but the seniors, I guess, reach out to me if you need some help. And thank you so much for making me a part of your journeys. And this has been a lot of fun. So thank you, everybody.
Thank you, Hapa.
Thank you, Ellen. Take care. Bye now.
Bye now.
Bye, guys.